Welcome into Coach's Corner as, well, we're about to say so long for the school year. Be back with you next year. But before we do that, we are joined today by the athletic director, I think still currently, even though he's transitioning to a new role, that is Jason Leavitt with Ponca City. So I want to say first off, we're going to talk about everything, but let's get it right off the top. Congratulations on becoming operations manager, and what a journey from coach to athletic director to now operations manager here for Ponca City Public Schools.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it? I think it's great because, from here, I've just put in the time, tried to work hard. I doing everything I can for the kids. That's the ultimate goal here, and I'm blessed.
Well, I saw you working hard over the, you have all the stuff going on in athletics, but you're working and making sure you get the right credits and everything you need because you wanted to get more into the administrative side of things, it felt like. So, but 5 years ago when I first got to know you, did you ever think something like this was going to happen?
I did not. I didn't. Like, honestly, I took a leap and took a chance, tried to just step up. There's a need, step up and try to fill that void.
Well, how'd this come around? Because we know Shelley's leaving, we know what's happening, moving up and everything. So, I mean, was this one of those things that you just said, hey, I'm going to apply? Did somebody say, hey, I think you'd be good at this? So how did this come about?
I honestly, I think you got to, I don't like going about like, hey, I think you'll be good at this type of deal because I think you're going to end up being miserable in it. And you're going to maybe try to pass blame on the people. So I think you have to be compelled to do something. Like something has got to compel you to do it. Like it can't be somebody else's idea. You got to have something that, internally says, you need to do this. You can make a bigger impact on people.
So when was the moment where you felt compelled?
I think just the last 5 years, I think just having that opportunity to make a bigger impact on kids, people, the community as a whole. I would say to nail it down to one thing, that's hard to do. I think it's just, it was a hard decision to ultimately make to apply for something because I've really in my lifetime I haven't applied for very many jobs.
Well, I mean, you're pretty much coach, and then you get thrust into the athletic director, and now it's kind of interesting because, like I said, when you were a wrestling coach, you probably never thought about becoming an AD, and then all of a sudden you become an AD, and now operations. I mean, it's just it's weird how it all come about, but no better place to do it.
And that's one of the things we always talk about, like, especially during Teacher Appreciation Week. It's you have that one or multiple teachers that you always remember that you tried to align yourself to, and they're just a mentor role, which was my high school coach, and I watched him go from, coaching to administration, and I was like, man, that's awesome. That guy has it going on, and I thought maybe one day I'd get into an administrative role, but I didn't know I'd do it this quick.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And I just, like I said, just compelled to do something, and I never had anybody come say, hey, I think you should do this. I just try to work hard and keep moving forward.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have you in that role, and now it's great because you can't directly fire me. You can just tell somebody else to do it. So, and currently the search still going on for an AD as your replacement. So, and we'll be excited to hear about that when they do make that announcement. But as far as sports are concerned, and that's what we're here for, we're talking about all the different sports. This is a year in review, and we're going to go through pretty much everything we can. And I want to start it off with our fall sports, and I don't think there's any better way to start it than football, as records happened this season. You not only make the playoffs, you'd have made it in the old-fashioned way. But with the new rules, you're able to host a playoff game. And this was a team that really, really came together. Want to say congratulations to the coaches, the players, and congratulations to the players before this group of seniors that maybe graduated as well, because they helped build this. And what a special year it was to not only get the playoff game, but win a playoff game. First time since 2005.
Oh, absolutely. You think about not just the group of coaches we have now, but everybody that's had a hand in on these kids. From their families to little league coaches to junior high to high school coaches. And, we have an exceptional staff as far as our football program is concerned. I think we've been able to keep people together for a long time. And kids have become accustomed to that, and so it's really benefited us. I think longevity goes a long ways in what we do.
Yeah, and it's, Ponca for almost 2 decades didn't have a culture of winning, and now Scott Harmon, it was rough that first year, no wins, and then you kind of moved up, but you've slowly, by giving time, built this culture of winning now here in Ponca City, and you've proven to the community, proven to the kids that it can be done.
Absolutely, and again, it takes time. You gauge success by small increments of improvement sometimes.
Right.
So if it was gauged by going 0-10 to a gold ball the next year, there may be something else happening. I mean, they didn't build Rome in a day.
Right.
So it takes time to do that. And having people that support that time in development of a program is a key role.
Well, and we'll go through this with other coaches as well, but Ponca City is a place it's important that the people that are leaders and coaches want to be here.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily the easiest place, especially being 6A across the board. So you got to have people that want to be here and want to see that success, and that's what you're always trying to find.
That's it, because it's like that one song, "Fly Over State." We want people that really want to be here and invest in Ponca City and our kids. And when we get people like that, that's our goal, and that's what we try to preach to everybody. We've had situations where we've had short-term staff that have been gone soon, real quick, and when that happens, it hurts the kids and their development and moving forward. And we definitely look at the way in the people that we're hiring. Can they establish and dig in some roots here?
Yeah. So
we can build into the future.
Yeah, and you'll see this. We're going to talk about all the sports, and it'll lead into something else today as well. But we talked football. I want to get into some other of the fall sports. Softball had a new coach there, and I certainly thought we saw some progress as far as softball is concerned. And I think there's a lot of great young, talented girls in that softball program.
There is. It was a young group. I think we graduated 1, maybe 2 seniors, and it's a young group, and we more than doubled our wins from the year before. And so and that's another sport that just having consistency in. You think about program type of coaches that have been around for a while, just routine plays, there's probably not a lot of time spent on that. Right. There's an expectation, and you're not starting from ground zero. And going back to the goal, what we want is we want retention in those spots and to keep people in those positions. So the kids come in and they know what the expectations are early on. And so you eliminate a lot of that stuff leading up to it.
And part of that streamlining the sports too, you want the kids that are in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade that may be playing stuff organized through the school. You have some of that continuance going on.
Yeah.
They understand maybe those coaches what the coaches at the next level
Yeah.
are, and you just kind of build and build and build up to that point where those kids
Absolutely.
know exactly what to expect. And coaches, for a lot of reasons as well, they love that because those kids already know a lot about what they're already supposed to do when they get there.
That's right. And we've had a lot more coaches get involved in our middle school and youth level, so that's really helped us out as well.
Yeah.
So
all right, move to volleyball. Jenny does a great job, and we talk about one of those coaches that loves being around here. I got to spot. We'll talk more about that in a second too, because that was big as well. But I got to, her husband was my spotter.
Oh, really?
For that game.
Oh,
Remember
that's right.
That I did the state semifinal. But volleyball program, once again, you got a little continuance there. Just, it's so hard. And there's certain sports that are harder than other, and volleyball is one of those. There's so many great clubs across the state, especially in the big cities. And there's a lot of good volleyball at Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and certainly some of those private schools. They may be 3A in football, but they're 6A in volleyball because they're so good and they win it all the time.
That's it. Jenny's been around our volleyball program for a while, and she's very professional. She's very team oriented. It's just like you said with her husband, spotter at the football games. We put it out there and we asked for help from our staff.
Yeah, she serves at DJ at basketball games, remember?
Serves as that at basketball games. So, I mean, she's definitely a team player. She loves the kids that she works with. She has high expectations for our girls, and I wouldn't expect any less.
Yeah, and then I want to move to cross country. I know they didn't maybe have as big a year, but it's another one of those sports. There's a lot of great athletes across 6A, and not only that, there is a lot of athletes that hit the courses for cross country, so it's hard to place. I think there's a couple of kids, maybe top 20 finishes at state or something, but I know that you always want better, but that's one of those sports, it's tough.
It is tough. I mean, you look at, a good gauge of cross country right now is Wendy has increased our numbers from high school to junior high by more than 100% almost.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of kids that run, and one of the funny things about cross country is, and I think it's cool because there's been a slogan in the past. Our sport is your sport's punishment. And I was like, man, that is classic. You know, and so
go run 5 miles. I've heard that before, haven't you?
Yeah, go run 5 miles. Not a lot of people want to run, and I give a lot of credit to the kids that are out there running, and the coaches they're out there with them.
Yeah. So, and it's, like I said, I really like Wendy, and she helps out some other things as well, kind of like we said with Jenny. And I wanted to get into that too because I think this was a big year facilities-wise for Ponca City in a way. And I know we got more great facilities to come naturally. But for football, we have the great renovation, and we've been able to host some smaller class playoff games.
Sure.
But we got the call this year to host an OSSAA state semifinal game for 6A. And it turned out to be one heck of a ball game.
Yeah, it did.
It is Stillwater and Deer Creek. But I thought that for the most part, is there hiccups? There's always hiccups and stuff like that, don't get me wrong. But for Ponca City to prove their facilities could host such an event, that was a big accomplishment.
It was awesome. I mean, I got a call from the association just asking, hey, would you be available to host a game? And looking at probably a small class playoff game, and next thing I know, that calling, hey, you're gonna host 6A too. Oh, okay, awesome, let's go. Let's go. We'll do it. We'll host it, and we'll be great hosts. We'll put on a good event for them because. Again, that's a good thing for our community to be able to show off our community. And plus, we can get our kids there and show them the type of environment that they could potentially be in.
Yeah.
And get that experience.
Yeah. Everything was great except for the PA announcer for that event, by the way. So, all right. So now I don't think I missed anything fall. I want to transition to the winter side of things. And I think the best place to start there is it was a year where wrestling had to battle. There was injuries all over the place. I know that kind of helped, maybe kept them from maybe achieving what they ultimately wanted to. But kids battled. They got up there, and you get to the state tournament. You have some good showings. First off with boys, Chris Kaiser wins back-to-back, does it from come from behind, dramatic fashion once again after getting beat and finishing second at the regional. It was unbelievable to watch, and he became the 91st gold medalist for Ponca City High School. What a great, great moment for that young man. Great moment for Coach Justin Rowland, all the staff, and as well as yourself that was in attendance.
Oh, man, it was awesome. Chris played the underdog all year, and he's the type of kid that he's always ready to go in a stance before the coach even blows the whistle. I mean, it's like you don't have to say, hey, get down, quit talking, you don't. He's like, I'm always ready. He's just ate up with wrestling. And I knew when I saw some good things that he did at the regional, but I knew that he was right there to beat that kid. Yeah. And so, and Chris is going to find a way to beat you, and he did. And so, kudos to him. I mean, he had an outstanding year, and now a two-time state champion. We're very proud of him.
Yeah, and it's the second time in a row he's come in as second out of the regional with a second seed and being able to go through and win a gold medal. So it's really cool, and beating people that beat him earlier in the year too. I mean, it's really cool to see that. And that's the thing. When you look at 6A wrestling, and we're going to get the girls in a minute, but when you look at the boys and you look at 6A, I mean, you get to the state tournament, about a third of all those kids are going to be wrestling at D1 level. Yeah. And about 2/3 could go wrestle at any level they wanted to. I mean, other levels. I mean, the competition is unreal in 6A wrestling.
It is. And you think about that number, 91 individual state championships. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. I mean, especially in the largest class. I mean, we have an Olympic champ that didn't win one of those. Now, he later on won the granddaddy of them all, which
that gold medal's a little bigger,
that's
right?
That's a little bit bigger. But just to put it in perspective, it's a tough state. It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, and one of the best events. If you've never got a chance to go to the state championship in wrestling, I highly encourage it. It's a wonderful, wonderful event. I've really fell in love with wrestling through being able to go to that event and cover it. And Chris Kaiser, it'd be a great time to go next year because he'll be looking for a third gold medal. And I don't know, you maybe know this off the top of your head, but maybe not quite. But when you start getting into three-time first place territory in state, I mean, there's only a handful of four-time state champions, but three-time, that's a handful, maybe two handfuls is about it. Yeah. And that's something I imagine that we've probably had happen in Ponca City with such good wrestling, but something that probably hasn't happened a lot, quite frankly.
We've had one four-timer. He was actually the first in the state of Oklahoma, and we had one three-timer, and that was Mimi Miller. So it's been a while.
So cool.
I take that back. And Trey Branscombe, he was another one too.
So I mean, for Chris, it's almost like you go in top 5-6 wrestlers all time in a school that has some of the greatest success ever going into next year. But congratulations for him. Congratulations to all the wrestling. And now I want to switch to girls. Carissa Muhammad comes in. Love her personality. Love her fight. She come on during the state tournament with me a couple of times. We had a lot of good things to talk about. Addison Ivers, first year Ponca, doing the wrestling thing on the girls' side. Addison Ivers gets on the podium. I mean, it was such a special moment. And she pinned the girl to get to the podium and finish fourth place. It was awesome.
Yeah, what a special deal. I mean, first year, we had some girls that wrestled last year. We didn't really know where things were going to end up. We had some that had experience that did get injured going throughout the season, so that took them out. But it was very, very interesting to watch the development of the girls team. I mean, they're a lot of fun to go be around.
Yeah, and this is, to me, the fastest growing sport in the state right now as far as high school is concerned. You saw that. They're going to have to split the classes, I think, for girls before long, because right now it's theoretically harder to win in girls than anything because you have to deal with every school and every girl across the state, where it's classifications for the boys. So, I mean, it was dramatic. I think Union won on the last pin. They pinned a girl to actually win the tournament, and it was on the center mat as well. So it was a great showcase for girls wrestling this year at state, and really cool that Ponca City got to be a part of that.
Very, very, very unique. Historical for our young ladies, and I'm glad that they got that experience, and I want them to use that and keep moving this thing forward, because I think we've got the opportunity to be very successful in Lady Cat wrestling.
Now, like Carissa, like I said, did a great job with that as well. So really like what she did. So we'll transition now swimming, and it's one of those sports that maybe doesn't get the numbers that some of the other sports we talked about. But talking to Coach Heather Harris, it's been, I think, over a decade since they had a gold medalist, and that changed. Maddie Shearer. I mean, we talk about some of the best athletes in Ponca City in sports. We think of those other sports, but maybe the best athlete that we have could be Maddie Shearer, and she's a young one that's going to be doing more in the future with a big finish with gold at state championship.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we had an individual girl swimmer win a state championship, and again, that's no easy feat. I mean, a lot of the kids that they're competing against are already in USA Swim, and they're already on the ladder competing for those junior and world team type of things.
Yeah, and you had a couple of more medalists on the boys' side, but for Maddie, it was just special, and it was the 100-yard breaststroke that she won. And we got to talk to Heather Harris the week after it happened, and I just know Coach was so excited because she is another one of those people we talked about that wants to be here. She was part of Ponca City. So she understands, she loves it. So seeing this happen was very special for her.
It was good. This is a great year for our swim program. There is no doubt about it. And just Coach Harris has put in a lot of time in working with the kids from the high school, club level, everything. And it's nice to see getting some of those things to develop and into fruition as far as having some of those state accolades. I fully expect them to have another great season next year as well.
I do too. I do too, and I think it does seem like it's going in a great trajectory. Girls basketball. Let's go to that now. It was a year that was had its ups and downs. Let's just say it. And what become Coach Fincher's last year, they put on a heck of a show at the very last game. Emma Gherkin gets hurt. Those girls rally. They make it a game where it looked like it wasn't going to be. And they were, the competition right there, I think there's a couple of teams really, really good, but there's about 6-7 teams that could have possibly got to state. Ponca City girls were right there as well. But Coach Fincher, I think the big story there is he's calling it quits on the basketball side. He's moving over to be a principal at Liberty, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a little bit different not seeing a Fincher out there coaching because we had his daughters that played, and we had a couple of state championship runs as well during his tenure, but it's going to be a different era now. And to go to that different era, you didn't go too far down the road. You go to a Ponca City girl, a girl that's been an assistant for some time, with Micah Estrada. So really cool that she's going to be taking over the reins for a guy that she has a lot of love for in the coaching world, with Coach Fincher stepping down.
Yeah, it's this season for Lady Cat basketball. We did start in a tough place, but I'll tell you what, they just kept getting better throughout the year. We avenged several of our early on losses.
Had a couple of big wins against teams that made state tournament.
Absolutely, had some good wins there. They just work hard and find a way to improve and put themselves in a good position. Coach Fincher, you've had Finchers in there for 8 years now, and so now it's Coach Estrada's turn, and she's going to do well. She's a hometown kid, and she's going to pour her heart and soul into the program.
Well, it goes back to finding people that want to be here. And when you get a Ponca City native, you know they want to be here. And then you can find people. Coach Fincher,
Yeah.
I mean, he's stepping down and moving to Liberty, but he's a guy that come in, even an outsider can want to be here and fall in love with the community. But once again, that hiring process, when you can find those that want to be here, makes a huge difference. And Micah certainly in that ilk, as well as the new boys basketball coach. Rough year for boys basketball. Ivan McFarland steps down, but you didn't go far. You also went to the bench of them as well with Jacob Birnbaum, who's a former basketball standout for Ponca City. He's taken over the reins of the boys.
Absolutely. Both really good hires. Birnbaum, he's an exceptional young man. I've witnessed him through the last 2 years, and he's farther ahead than most of us would have been at that age. I know he asks the questions. He's very coachable, and he's not afraid to hold kids accountable, and do the right thing. And so that's what we expect.
In the hiring process, like I said, you didn't look far. People that were already here were assistants and had Ponca City ties, but how did you go about knowing that you were transitioning maybe to the operations manager side with the hiring process that's going on? Because, it's still important because it's part of Ponca City Schools, which you're still a part of. But did you approach it like, hey, if I was the AD next year, this is who exactly I would want in this position. Here's who I can work with. Because you don't know who the AD is at this time of this recording. Mm-hmm. So how was the approach of hiring knowing that you were kind of on your way out of the athletic side?
I mean, again, I have poured a lot into this position, trying to make it
I can testify
better.
to that.
I mean, I do a lot of the things that nobody will ever see as far as an AD.
And this is why that I'm advocating very strongly that just things you never see, we're going to get him a statue in the janitor's closet. We've been talking about that for years, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not a slight. It's because you have to do a lot of little stuff that people don't see.
Yeah, I mean, you can write it in there in a permanent marker if you want on the wall.
I'm going to do that today as soon as we get out of here.
It's a lot cheaper. You can spend money on
Shelley, you didn't hear that, by the way. I wasn't, right on school property.
Remover, don't worry. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a huge sacrifice. Just like any of our coaches, they give up a lot of time with their family, and, it's work all day, work all evening, and it doesn't stop. And everywhere in between, you're trying to find time to spend that with your family and still be a part of your kid's life. Because at the end of the day, I mean, they're your family, and you got to take care of them. And so I want this thing to keep getting better. I don't want it to be something that, we had a lot of turnover in the position before me, and I don't want to see it become that. It's just like our coaching positions. I want to increase longevity with them, and because it's better for people in the long run to have that. I want to make sure that, approachable, doing what's right for all the kids. It may not be a popular what's right, but that's the stuff that nobody will ever know.
Well, and it's hard to assess too sometimes in Ponca because, like I said, I call it the island schools. I mean, schools like Lawton, schools like Ponca City, schools like Enid, they're not near the metro. Bartlesville would be another one. Sometimes it's hard to gauge because when you hire, you want to hire that longevity, but it is a performance industry. Sports is, but sometimes you got to say, did they perform at their highest level? Did we get as much as they could out of the kids? Because sometimes it's tough to win in some of these 6A sports.
It is. It's absolutely tough. Competition out there is steep. Building relationships with other schools is big too, just to keep that flow of competition going. Within the conference we're in, within our AD networks that we're involved in, and just seeking some of that input and how are you guys doing this, and it increases the level of respect across the state. And so it's a good job, and at the end of the day, people here care. They care about their local schools, their kids, what's going on with it. But we're all pulling on the same rope.
Right.
We all want the same end goal is the same.
Yeah, we may have a different thread, but we're all trying to pull in the same direction.
We're all pulling on the same rope.
Yeah. So, well, I told you we're going to get off and go into different things, but now let's move to spring sports.
Let's go.
Baseball to start off. You have new coach Grant Middlebrooks in there. Brings a great young energy to that program. That's another one of those sports that we've seen some turnover over the years. Once again, a tough sport to go win in 6A because, you're facing – they played over there at Broken Arrow, and 3 of the kids, the top 3 batters were all going to play D1 ball at Kansas, at Oklahoma State, and ORU. It is tough, but Grant's brought a good young energy, and he's proven – he's not afraid to go out and schedule people with his non-conference and with his district he already has, because he went and scheduled some pretty tough opponents right off the bat.
Yeah, he did. I think the competition's great for our kids. We want to play people that are going to push us and make us better. All right. End of story. You don't get any better if you're not getting pushed. But Grant, he's a first year guy. I know there's some things that. Am I doing this right? Am I doing that right?
You've all been there.
Good. Just hang in there. Kids are fine. And he's always asking anything I need to be doing. Anything, one of those type of deals. Yeah. I'm like, hey, everything's fine. Just do what's right with the kids. Keep pushing it forward. And things will be all right. And to, Bixby, we lose our first game at regionals to Bixby.
State champion.
2-0. Eventual state champion. I'm like, see, guys, you're not that far off. There's things that we can improve on across the board, but you always got to remember there's little things. Put it in perspective. Small goals, small victories.
Yeah, and once again, 6A, it's really tough in baseball when you look across the state and all the great athletes that are out there. So, like I said, 2-0, that was it. And they had a chance to win that game. I was there. Yeah. Just couldn't get – they had some runners in scoring position, just couldn't get the timely hits. If they did, they may have taken down a team that – well, who knows? They may have not been the state champion if that would have happened. So, congratulations on the first year and looking forward to the building there. Golf. You got Wendy there on the girls' side. And then Tanner, I talked to him last week on the boys' side. He never envisioned himself as a golf coach, but he said he absolutely loved it.
Yeah. He I think the kids really love Tanner, and he's done a really good job for our golf program. We got 2 kids at the state tournament this year, and that's kind of like cross country. It's hard to finish up there. There's by the time you get out of regionals, it just reduces it down. But there's still a ton of kids that are vying for one of those top spots in one of those sports.
And talking to them once again, their competition, there was. I wanted to say they said almost half going to be playing college golf that were down there in the field.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we know Oklahoma, just look at the PGA Tour. You can see how many great golfers are from Oklahoma or have Oklahoma ties. I think part of that's because you have to learn to play in the wind, which these kids do. But they went down there on a very tough course. They had their goods and bads. And
that's right.
Guess what? They're better for it and really excited about what they can do in the future. And
absolutely.
Got to host a regional up here, too, at our local course, which was also really nice.
Yeah. That was our ladies.
Those are ladies, yeah. That was our girls, yeah.
And so, the girls, Coach Landis has always done a good job with our kids. We brought her on. Shoot, I think this is my first year of being an AD, and she's taken the program and increased numbers there. Handled the kids very good. Worked with our local courses, the club, the Wentz, worked with them very well, and so good advocate for our Lady Cat golf program. And we were able to get 1 state qualifier again in girls golf. Yeah,
so really good there with 2 boys and 1 girl getting qualified. Soccer. You got Ben to stick around.
Got Ben to stick around.
And, of course, love Ben. And then Mike Arnold there with the girls.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep on repeating, I'm a broken record. 6A's tough. And it's like football, right? But in the fall with American football, they've switched it where 6 now get in. It used to be the top 4. Well, with soccer, it's still top 4. So one team was on the cut line and maybe being able to get into that playoff, which has been the last couple of years. They just haven't been able quite to eke over because there's been so much good competition in their district.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition in that district, and the margin for error, just like a lot of 6A sports, it's very small. I mean, shoot, if we didn't give up this many points in that game or won this game or whatever, it came down to one goal for the boys to go to the playoffs, in which we won the game, but it was kind of like,
we went through that with football. Remember, we beat Sapulpa, but we didn't beat them by enough to get into the playoffs.
And to beat them by 9, I think.
Yeah, and we got the ball down to like the 5-yard line at the end, and beat them. And that was a bad feeling. You won the game, but you didn't win to get the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. And so, you want it for the kids, and you want it for your town, your coaches, everybody, but sometimes things just happen. Our girls, I think their future's bright. I mean, they're like the total opposite of the boys right now. The boys have a lot of seniors, girls have a lot of underclassmen. And so Coach Arnold has a great personality. He's got Shelby Cox in there, or Shelby Creech, I'm sorry, to help out with our girls program. And so they're going to get better.
Yeah.
They're going to get better. And it's
Mike knows the sport. He's done some officiating over the year, I think, as well. So, I mean, he's well connected in the soccer community.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes a long ways. And especially just having that relationship with the kids.
Yeah.
It goes a long way.
It does. You want to get the most out of them. And not necessarily like you, but this respect and admiration. Yeah. And knowing that when you tell them something, it's going to help the team.
That's right.
That's so important. So we're going to finish off with a couple of more tennis. You got Brad, you got Larry. With that, once again, 6A, it's tough. There's a bunch of kids that are, nationally ranked that you're having to go against. That makes it tough. And then track, it's kind of the same boat with Steve and Brad. I mean, you try your best, and those kids go out there, they do a heck of a job. And I know we had some qualifiers and such in track, but once again, it is tough to get over that hump and get somebody to medal.
Oh, absolutely. Boys tennis, we qualified one for the state tournament, freshman and Sutton Reynolds. Girls, we weren't able to get any qualified this year, but I fully believe that our tennis program is going to keep moving forward.
Yes.
Both coaches are retiring, so there's going to be a difference.
And has there been announcements on new coaches on that yet?
No, we haven't made any announcements for that yet. But these gentlemen have been with the program for so long, done such a great job that where was I needed?
Well, the next thing is whoever the new coach is, if they have a good relationship, I guarantee you I could see Brad and Larry out there on the courts on an afternoon helping out, even though they're retired, because they love it.
They do, and I guarantee you that they will. Tournaments, events, things like that. And, we want our coaches that retire to know that we respect and appreciate everything that they've done. But that's a lot of years of experience walking out for us there. But we'll find the right coach and get in there, and we'll continue on, and maybe new ideas for it.
Yeah, and track with Brad and Mac. I get to know them a lot from the football side of things. We don't broadcast any track and field, but got to talk to both of them, and they got, I think, some young kids too that are going to be good going into the future.
Oh, absolutely.
But they just wrapped up their state track meets, and it was tough for them. And but they did have. I looked through the finals, even though I don't think we saw a whole lot of podium visits. There was a lot of success in there.
Oh, there was a lot of success there because, there's been years we sent maybe one, maybe two kids to state track meet. We sent several kids this year, which, and that's improvement. Both those guys have been around. They know what's going on. They know track. They know how to handle kids. They do a good job. They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
in they're Punk City guys. I mean,
and I mean, it doesn't stop for them.
Yeah.
They go from one thing to the other because, I mean, both of them right now, spring football's going on. They're both out there helping out there.
Yeah, yep, it never stops. Coach Coach McHenry, he at least gets a little bit of a break there in the wintertime.
Yeah, I hear Brad didn't.
Parent, he don't take a break.
No, I don't think he wants a break.
I don't think he does either.
No, he's geared like that. So, all right, last one I wanted to mention because it does. I say this all the time. These girls are athletes, just like any others. And Ponca's cheer and Ponca's steppers are certainly like that. And for the steppers, they go down to Texas and they won a national championship, another national championship.
Yep.
I mean, this is the creme de la creme of military style drill type programs. What you have with the Pohai Steppers, and they go down there and take another natty.
Yeah, it's an absolute great accomplishment. They're an integral part of what we do. We very much appreciate everything that our steppers do. Represent the school, the community very well. Coach Smith, she's the epitome of longevity and having somebody in there and running a system.
And somebody that was a stepper herself back in her day. So, I mean,
herself.
she is kind of, when you think about coaching hirings, she is like the quintessential what you aspire for.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having somebody there that's going to invest like she's invested, it is huge. I mean, you can't. How many high school coaches do you know that are going to put 30 years into one program? Same program?
No, it doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen very often.
And that said, Ponca City. I mean, you probably haven't seen that a lot in recent history in Ponca City.
You haven't. And so, again, our steppers are an integral part of everything we do as a department, as a school. So, when needed for any kind of special event, they're always stepping up and they're always willing to go.
Yeah, and same for the cheer team. They do a great job of what they're doing. And then, even though they're not in the athletic spectrum and under the umbrella, the band appreciate what they do for all our events that they're there as well. So they're a big integral part of certainly those Friday nights. Big Blue Band, and certainly making that atmosphere in Robson the absolute best atmosphere for high school basketball in the state of Oklahoma, in my opinion. All right, just a couple more things before we get out of here. There's always changes going on. You're getting out of sports, that's one change, but we saw changes last year with football. Well, there's other changes coming down the tube with the OSSA. I think one is they're going to go to basketball districts finally.
Oh, yes.
And get rid of the coaching side of things. Still no shot clock for those that wanted the shot clock. Not going to have that yet. But talk about the basketball going to districts if you think that's better. I think one of the other things is going to baseball districts. They're talking about maybe going to 4-team districts there instead of 8 teams. So tell us what you know and what you like, and maybe what else could be new coming up for high school athletes in the future.
I know little right now about the baseball districts. I've heard a little, but I know a little.
Okay. Well, it's usually the way it is, yeah.
I will tell you, as far as basketball is concerned with the 5A, 6A district play, I think it's great. I think that they should be able to battle it out on the court and instead of having coaches vote on seating.
It made no sense.
It doesn't, because what you run into is you run into a little bit more politics within the sporting arena.
Yeah, vote me 2 more high and I'll vote you number 1. You see that. Yeah.
I don't think that that's fair for kids. I think head-to-head competition, common opponents, I think things like that should play into the equation whenever we're looking at seeding. So, now here's the problem. Getting those districts aligned for both boys and girls basketball.
Yeah.
It's going to be a challenge, but I think there's people that have been really looking at this to make it most effective.
Next question on that, because I think it's the most pressing one as far as what a new AD is going to have to handle, and ADs everywhere. you have a conference currently that you try to work with. So are they going to try to do 14 districts of basketball? Is it going to be 18 districts? Because if you go 18 district and you want to play a team twice, that's 14 games. If you don't have those conference teams in your district, that really limits your non-conference scheduling.
I think we're looking at probably 8.
So it is going to be 8. So you'd have 7 games. If they make you play them twice, that'd be 14 games.
Yeah.
So how does that handle, one of the big benefits for Ponca when we got in the conference, and that's one of your good accomplishments too, is getting Ponca City in a conference. It helped all sports, but basketball, it was a really big help overall. And part of that was you got to get good competition from Oklahoma City. Enid joined at that same time as well. Mm-hmm. But now with these districts, I don't know how the conferences are going to work out with basketball.
It's funny you say that, but the biggest push, I think, for district play came out of our conference.
Yeah.
Dick Balancefin, who's our conference chair, he's AD over all Putnam City schools, he has kept the conversation going for the last few years. I mean, we've been on board with it because, again, we're geographically island school, as you called it, by ourselves. And in getting that competition here, it was imperative that we were in a conference, or else we're going to play on just crazy schedules, and like a Friday, Saturday games, and just pick up games wherever you can. But within the conference, saw that some of our conference schools were getting bumped down in the seating.
Yeah.
And then other schools were making it up there. So, Dick Balancefin put out the vote to ADs first, and then put out something out there to the coaches, and which this one was a lot easier to get done than the shot clock, because financially schools would have had to implement, provided that stuff. So I think that's what kind of got the shot clock thing off the table. But
it's not just money for the shot clock. It's also you have to have an operator every game.
You do. So it's just
but it is. I think everybody wanted to go to the districts in basketball. Or most did. I think the small schools were where there's a little bit more hesitancy. But it's just interesting to me see how they're going to navigate the conference now. If you have a bunch of schools that aren't in your district, but you're still in the conference. So we'll see how that all pans out. So hey, anything else you want to get into before we say our goodbyes here?
I'm gonna miss this job and all the people I work with. It's been a huge learning experience for me. So hopefully, left it better than I got it. But at the end of the day, it comes down to relationships and the people you have, because you don't have those relationships to put on the events, with officials or people to count on that are going to be where they need to be. It's going to be a disaster. And you want the best experience for our kids.
Speaking of officials, I said one more thing. This is going to be my last serious question. It's tough to get officials in Ponca City.
Yes.
Basketball, it's really been tough, and you guys have put in some stuff to maybe help with that. Does going to districts change that at all? Does the OSSA actually going to assign officials to district games, or like they do in football, or is it still going to be the new AD and coaches are going to have to work to try to find officials and get them up here? Because once again, you being so far away from the two big official cores, Tulsa and Oklahoma City, makes it tough.
Again, that comes down to relationships. Like the Tulsa Officials Association, got a good relationship with them over there. And so as far as basketball is concerned, we have, again, that's why it's important to maintain those relationships, because if you don't have officials there, you don't have a game, your kids suffer.
Yeah, and I got a feeling the new AD, you'll be helping them transition a lot with some of those connections if they don't already have them.
Absolutely. So you gotta take care of the people you got.
Yeah. All right. That's the last thing, your replacement. Certainly you're involved in that. Do you have a timeline of when you hope that's going to be announced, or when you think it'll be announced, as you're still fielding and analyzing candidates currently?
I hope it's done by the end of this week. So
it's like all public school jobs, right? It has to be posted a month, all that. Is that correct?
We have to have them posted so many hours before we start interviewing.
Right.
So I think our agreement is 48 hours or something like that. But I could be off on that. So it's been out there for a little while now. Yeah. But again, we'll do everything we can to find a great candidate for it. It's just want to make sure the focus is on the kids and improving their experiences, the benefits they get from athletics, and the importance of an education, and then moving them to the next phase of their life.
Yeah. So, well, you did a good job, and I look forward to working with the next one that's in, whether I know them already or not. Looking forward to it. Looking also summer. You got a new role you're going into, and with athletics, I mean, it doesn't completely close down, but in a way it kind of does during the summer. I'd imagine this new role, it doesn't really slow down for you in the summer, but do you have any good summer plans? You're going to try to get away before you really get in the midst of the school year?
Yeah, I had... Normally, the only time I could take off was in June, being the AD, because that's whenever we don't have anything, like as far as evening events or big things like that going on. It's just summer training, things like that. That's when I do it. I've got something already planned that I've had planned for a while, and so I'm going to go take a little bit of time there, and I'm going to get back. As far as this new role, that's whenever all the improvements happen, because it's hard to do a lot of these things, like making sure floors are all waxed, everything's painted where it needs to be painted.
Well, and you're supervising, because we've had the bond issues, a lot of construction going to be going on.
Yeah, and again, a lot of those things are hard to do with kids in the buildings every day. So we'll just get everything ready to go for next school year, and the bond issue projects, those are... Softball's already underway. Should start seeing that turn into something pretty soon. Baseball, getting ready to do some demo work there. So we've got some things on the timeline, and people may be affected here and there by it. But progress, there comes as unintended consequences.
And it's not just sports with you now too. I mean, you got STEM Academy stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's going to be going on.
That's STEM Academy. They're hustling on that thing. So we'll see.
Well, you still didn't say. I mean, you going on vacation, or you don't want to tell us what you're doing to do? I mean, I'm
going to Florida with my family.
That's good for you. I'm happy for that. So chase those little ones around the beach.
Yeah, it'll be the first airplane ride for my kids, and so.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we'll try it out.
So you're going to take the flight to Florida.
Well, when you have a 1-year-old baby, they don't ride in a car.
You're a brave soul. Yeah,
you're a brave soul, and I don't think we're ready to do that.
No, well, let's put it. You and your wife not ready for that, right?
Hey, I can lay down some tracks, but
I think our first flight with ours, he was a year and a half.
Yeah,
and he did really well. It was like an hour and a half, and it actually went really well. And we had turbulence, and he was the only one of our family that wasn't scared.
Oh, yes.
So,
like, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, Mama's rocking me. It's all good.
That's awesome.
So, all right, well, hey, it's been a pleasure working with you on the athletic side. I look forward to working with you in your new role. I look forward to the announcement of a new AD to lead this place forward. But want to say a big thanks to everybody before we get out of here. Of course, we lost Sean Anderson over the Christmas holidays. I was asked to step in and fill this role here. Appreciate all that Sean did, all Chris does on taping all these, and was really humbled to be able to come in and do this role. I want to say thanks to all the kids. I mean, that's why we're here. That's the stories they have, and being able to follow them. I mean, that's what makes this job special, is the kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and watch their growth and development.
Yeah, and all the coaches able to work with, all the parents this year, all the assistant, the support staff, everybody. I mean, it does take a village to raise kids, and take a village to do athletics too. So appreciate everybody all across the board, up and down, and really glad to be here. And glad to see you. I mean,
Yeah.
I think see your ascension. I mean, when I started wrestling coach, then you got moved to AD. Now you're the operations manager. I'm just thinking, what's next?
What's next?
I mean, I'm still just a broadcaster.
Hey, I'm still not a good broadcaster. So.
Oh, you're not bad. So we kept you on. I really appreciate
Hey,
time.
thank
you
you
so much. That's going to do it for our Coach's Corner. Thanks to Jason Leavitt, the former athletic director, now moving to the role of operations manager for Ponca City Public Schools. Jordan Woodruff saying so long. Thanks for watching. Until next time for Coach's Corner, which should be next school year when we get started, probably around August. Go Cats.